Today's NBA is considered one of the most talented it has ever been. While some people make this assumption, others believe that the older era has more talent than modern day NBA. In today's game, there are some missing fundamentals. Today I will talk about the different aspects of the game and how old eras were more fundamentally sound than the newer era. Before I get into this video, we are approaching 500 subs, so make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. Number 1. Post game. The post game is one of the most underrated ways to score. In the 80s and 90s, many players used it more often. From players like Hakeem Olajuwon's Dream Shake and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's Skyhook, those were few and many who found their points coming from the post. Not only big men scored that way, but smaller guys as well. Especially players like Mike and Kobe, who would show their versatility in scoring. This is what created some of the greatest scorers of all time. They would score based on the way players would guard them and make their reaction in a blink of an eye. In today's NBA, not many players post up like that. If they were to post up, it would not be efficient. They would take entirely too long to shoot a shot, or they would find themselves stuck to a point where they would force a pass out of the post. Too much time is spent dribbling and dancing around instead of creating a decent shot for themselves. There are only 24 seconds on the shot clock, and you have to make a decision before time runs out, and many players today don't understand that. Number 2, defense. Defense in the 90s wasn't just an effort, it was a craft that everyone had to master. Aside from hand checking and hard fouls, defense was very simple, man to man, and everyone hold their own. One example of good defense from the 90s is Michael Jordan. Sometimes people miscredit Jordan because people think he went against weaker players, but for a defensive player of the year and 9-time first team all defense, people can learn a thing or two. His style of man-to-man defense is one of the most intriguing I've ever seen. Jordan will get in a low defensive stance with a wide base, looking directly into the player's eyes to see where they might go with the ball. This is the type of defense we will never see today. Now, you can find players standing straight up and players going right past each other. This is why help defense is more common today. Players are lazy with on-ball defense to the point where they will need other players to assist them. Sometimes you can find teams going into zone packages because they have players that are less skilled on defense. Zone help players identify where they need to be in order to play good defense. I understand that there have been rule changes since the 90s, but defense is a skill that can be taught. And right now, I don't think any player in the league is willing to practice any of those things. Number 3, mid-range. The mid-range game is something that players mostly appreciated during the golden era of basketball. It was a good way to emphasize good shot selection by taking the shot inside the three-point line and closer to the goal. The three-point shot was seen as an option that was taken only if it was the last thing available. In today's game, most players depend on the three-point line way too much. So much that there are wasted possessions due to so many missed three-point attempts. I understand the game is moving in that direction, but not everyone can shoot threes. So it is much safer to develop a mid-range first. You see this in today's players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Kevin Durant. They both have a great mid-range shot, which makes them slightly different from other players on the court. Another shot selection I think is overrated is the floater. While floaters are shot frequently, it is something I think can be replaced by the mid-range. The mid-range shot is better to navigate. You can pump fake a mid-ranger, not a floater. A floater is also more prone to being blocked by taller defenders when shooting from the perimeter. The mid-range should be more appreciated, but as the years went on, the game extended toward the three-point line and beyond. Number 4, fundamentals created longevity. Many players depend on their technique to provide them longer careers back then. This helped players have 10+ year careers in the NBA. It goes back to the saying, the game is more mental than physical. Players use their intellect and basketball knowledge to determine how they perform night in and night out, whether it was rebounding, defense, or finishing. There was a mental approach to everything. Now in today's NBA, players are doing way more than they should, and it leads to numerous injuries causing them to miss a lot of time. It is almost like they are freelance and they can't figure out how they are going to play. This leads to plays that are strictly made for desperation. They will shoot bad shots and flop to look for fouls, which I'll be talking about in the next topic. Number 5, play to score, not for fouls. It is evident that players are not going out there scoring baskets, but to look for fouls. This is why we see some of our best players averaging 20 to 30 free throws a game. They go down the court jumping into everyone and trying to get the ref to call one of the fouls. Sometimes they will even flop, and if there's a no call, they would throw an entire fit walking up the court. I kind of blame the state of today's game. They are very soft, and physicality is not a thing anymore due to numerous rule changes. So even if you lay a finger on someone, it's still a foul. Back then, physicality was a thing, and some fouls today wouldn't fly in that era. This is why I believe there are only a handful of players who will be able to play back then, because they're always looking to score and not forcing any fouls. Overall, the 90s could teach you, is crazy. Overall, the 90s could teach you many things. It can educate you on how you should play the game of basketball. From scoring to defense, a lot of legendary players in this era gave people like us something we can learn from. That is all for this video. If you want more content like this, subscribe and I'll see you all in the next video. Overall, the 90s could teach you many things. It can educate you on how you should play the game of basketball. From scoring to defense, a lot of legendary players in this area gave people like us something we can learn from. That is all for this video. If you want more content like this, subscribe and I'll see you all in the next video.